All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our live webinar Wednesday series. My name is Diane, and I am one of your co-hosts for today. I just realized it now. Today is November 11 a.m. 11. So have you done your Shopee or Lazada shopping at this point? Just kidding. So hoping that everyone is having a good Wednesday morning and hoping that you are able to get in our webinar Wednesday series without any technical problem. So just wanted to do a quick shout out to the people who are trying to join in. Let me look at our attendee list. Hello there, Alex, Kathy, Darlene, Hafiz, Janice, Jenica. Hello. Hello, Richie. Thank you for joining us again. Mu, Nabila, Surya, Vicky, thank you so much for being with us today. And I believe some of the participants are still trying to get in. But just so we set the foundation of our Zoom platform at this point. So letting you know that yes, we are live via Zoom. Our session is also being broadcast right now via Talent Views Facebook account. So anytime you feel you want to share this with your colleagues and unfortunately they're not able to register today, just go to our Talent View Facebook account, Talent View Asia, like our page, and you will definitely see a live broadcast of this session. Nevertheless, just wanted to let you know that you can do some resizing of the panels, the screen that you are seeing right now, both the video and the presentation slides. Likewise, if any time of the session in the next 30 to 40 minutes, you have questions, aha moments that you want to share with the crowd, feel free to use our bottom tabs below. And I wanted to practice it. Let's practice it, guys, while we are still waiting for others to join in. I know that in terms of attendees, we are being broadcast right now or being attended by participants coming from different countries, Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Singapore. Can you do a quick shout out where you are right now and at the same time your company, your company that you are working with at this point? So you can use the chat portion um, uh, at your right hand side. Let's see how the participants or where the participants are coming from. Good morning, Renette. Thank you for joining. Good morning to Mark. So do a quick shout out in our chat portion just so we know that you guys are also all good. I mean, the platform is working well on your part. Okay? So I'll open my chat box portion again in later on. Hello, Lino from Negros Occidental. Good morning to you as well. Celsius, hello from Jiangsu University. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Okay, so there you go. So I'll open it again later on. Just so you know, I know this is the number one question from the crowd. Can I get a copy of the training materials after? Definitely. After 24 hours, we will be giving you a copy of the webinar recording. So again, anytime you feel you want to go back or you want to share it with your colleagues, you may do so. No need to manual screenshot the presentation. We're happy to share it with you also after, and additional resources that you will also be seeing in our slides for today. Right. Okay, so also in terms of agenda, wanted to verify with you that you are also in the right learning session. Today's topic is about going data driven in your talent acquisition, specifically in your recruitment processes. But before we even go to the tools, methodology that you will be using, let's try to identify first the job criteria, the competencies that you should be measuring along the way, and from there, Angel will continue the discussion about how to assess your candidates, how to identify your top candidates objectively, and also some key features of the platform that you should be looking forward to if you decide to get assessment technology partner, or if you already have one, maybe this is also a good way to cross-check with your existing provider what are the different features that the platform has currently that can aid you in your decision making purposes. And I know that you guys are very much into sharing key takeaways or putting your aha moments via social media. Don't forget to tag us hashtag Talent View Learning, hashtag Webinar Wednesday, so that we'll be able to also reshare and acknowledge your posting. So do share and tag us using these hashtags. Okay, so again, my name is Diane. For those who have recently joined, I am the talent measurement head of Talent View, helping different organizations when it comes to their competency-based assessment, implementation, and rollout. And together with me, Angel Sabiduria, our senior account assessment consultant at Talent View. Fun fact, he even started before me. So he's one of the youngest product specialists also under Talent View. So anything related to building an assessment, complementing it with your existing assessment strategies and other initiatives under talent acquisition, I'm sure Angel will be happy to work with you on that aspect. So just a quick also introduction about myself. I am a certified level A and B personality and ability trainer under the British Psychological Society. I also got my certification under Talagen as one of their licensed assessor. And probably in the last couple of years that I've been working, a lot to do with assessment day in and day out. They say that I breathe assessment every day. So I've helped multiple organizations, both locally and multinational, when it comes to their executive leadership assessment, management development program, all focus on assessing the right person for the right role and hoping that my experience later on, I am able to share to you some use cases and of course statistics on how you can further improve your data-driven recruitment strategy. And likewise, I'll be joined later on by Angel, who will be walking you through all the other agendas that I've mentioned early in the program. So are you guys ready? I think time check. We are very mindful of our time. We want to start on time and we also want to end on time. So we'll begin the session now. So for those who are first time joining Talent View today, hello. I wanted to just give you a quick preview of who Talent View. We started 10 years back with the end in mind of helping organization when it comes to promoting their employer branding. And we do that through the three key pillars: strategy, design, and technology. And as you can see here, we are proud partners of this brand. Workplace by Facebook, Talagen competency-based assessment, which is our key partner highlight for today, our social media management platform, Digimind and Hootsuite, our job board and job aggregator platform through Indeed, and lastly, our applicant tracking system through Phoenix Applicant Tracking System. So again, if ever you think that you want to continue the discussion with some of these brands later on, we will be giving you also our contact details towards the end so that we can continue the discussion after. So we've worked with leading brands across Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Singapore, more than 200 different brands already. And guys, if you are one of these brands, raise your hands. If you are attending this session, thank you so much for trusting Talent View as your strategic partner when it comes to employer branding. Okay, so I'm done with some of my talkies. I wanted to turn over to you now, just so I understand also in terms of your knowledge of competency-based assessment. Are you a company wherein you are utilizing one or multiple assessment platform at this point? So we are releasing a poll, or two currently on hold because in terms of hiring or in terms of requirements when it comes to assessment, you don't have one yet, or probably your next hiring cycle will begin after 2020, or at this point it's not a priority, but hoping that your leadership team will invest on it by 2021 onwards. I'll give you like quick 5 seconds to answer while I'll sip my coffee. We're seeing a good trend right now. We're in 58% of our crowd. No, this has not been a priority. Probably You can also share via our chat portion. Please utilize that. Why do you think it is not a priority right now by the organization? I'm sure there's a reason behind it. 32% of the crowd mentioned that yes, you guys are already using it, while 11% of the attendees right now mentioned that currently on hold. There's no good and bad answer. Don't worry, guys. I'm not judging you. We just wanted to get a feel or pulse when it comes to the knowledge of you really deploying assessments, whether it's for talent acquisition or for talent development. Are you in the process of just learning it? Or are you in the process of refining because you already have it? Or are you in the process of making sure that you will get some leadership buy-in and hoping that along the way in the slides that we will be showing to you, there will be one or two items that you will pick to really show management that you will be needing the competency based assessment tool for your talent initiatives for the years to come. All right, thank you so much guys for sharing. We'll stop the poll right now and move on to our key agenda for today. So as mentioned to you, four different items that we want to walk you through: setting the right job criteria. And when we mention about job right criteria, working with your competency model, identifying your core functional or technical leadership competencies that predict success in the organization. And next would be how do you now assess your candidates once you have all of this criteria. Third would be identifying your best of the best candidates. I know it's so difficult. Actually, there's no Superman candidates out there at this point, but at least how can you spot on the right person for the right role? So that's your item number three. And lastly, some key features also when you look for an assessment provider. Are they able to showcase your employer brand? Everything right now is happening online. How do you ensure that this person is really the one taking the assessment? So hoping that those initiatives, those topics will help you also in your decision making process. So let's now begin. I wanted to start off with, of course, with a quick definition about competency framework. Yes, it is so basic, but remember, as basic as it is, if you don't have a competency framework, it is also so difficult to now really understand how do you predict if this person will likely become successful in the role that you are processing him or her for. So again, by definition, your competency framework is your knowledge, skills, and attributes needed to perform within an organization. And mind you, best in class organizations right now would have competency framework in place because they understand the value. They understand that this competency framework is their guiding or is their framework to really guide the person when they deploy, especially for new hires, when they deploy this candidate to the new role. It also answers the question of your talents, of your new hires. How do I become successful in my role? So take a very basic example about navigating from point A to point B. So whenever we go out of our house and we wanted to go from one place or the other, the initiative, the first thing that we will do if we don't know the place is to get our mobile phone, open our Waze, Google Maps, and pin the direction that we are going so that the map or the application can guide us how to get from point A to point B. Similar to your competency framework, it also serves that way. If the candidate, imagine your new hire upon onboarding, he doesn't know what to do, he doesn't know his key responsibility or KPIs or even his or her performance metrics, it is also difficult for him to stay in the organization because there's nowhere to go. The reason why it is important to build the competency framework because it also serves as a way to guide not only your recruitment strategy, but at the same time your training initiatives. So what are the key programs that you should be implementing? If you are rolling out coaching and mentoring program, what leadership competency should you be focusing on? If you are doing it as part of performance management, on top of the KPIs and targets, do they also have the competencies that is being required for them for the role? And if you are preparing your talents for future roles, specifically for succession planning, are your talents also aware where are they headed when it comes to their career journey in your organization? So I know this is quite a lot, but remember your competency framework now serves as your Bible, or in a way your policy. It's similar to your HR policy. It needs to be updated, especially if the work is ever work right now is ever changing at this point. And if at this point right now you're still like in the process of creating your framework, think about the framework that I wanted to share with you. This is coming from, I wanted to lift the CEB consulting firm. They're using the what we call ORSE methodology: observe, record, classify, and evaluate. This is a very effective assessment framework whenever you're assessing talents. But this time I wanted to apply it in competency framework because somehow it would yield the same result. If you are still in the process of if creating your competency model, the first thing that you have to do is observe. Watch your employees while they are performing the job. So whether they are on a physical role, or they're the types who are doing roles that are mental crunching, sit down with them, ask them questions about what's your daily task, how is it like working in the department ABC, and what are the critical roles or tasks that you need to deliver. And once you're able to observe that, you can now record all of these behaviors that you're able to observe along the way. Take note, you don't need to do this by yourself. You can also create your line managers as key champions in making sure that they're also able to observe and record tasks, critical skills that is needed to perform the role. And now once you're able to do the O and the R, you now move to the classify stage. We're in, okay, this set of behaviors, I want now to identify them and group them together in this cluster. So this behavior would probably fall under customer focus. This one would fall under innovation or strategic thinking. And after that, you now then evaluate the behaviors if it's relevant and effective in the role that the person, the department, that level is actually working on. So again, remember your ORSE strategy. It is an assessment methodology, but also can help you in building your competency model. Observe, record, classify, and evaluate. Moving on to the next part we're in. Okay, now Diane, I have this framework. I'm able to identify my core, my functional, my leadership. What do I do next? My key tip here, guys, is that although you are able to do it now, you have a framework already. Mind you, as I've mentioned earlier, the way we work today is so different now. Probably in the last few months, we have to be technically or digitally agile because everything somehow is happening online. How do we adjust to our new ways of working? So that said, similar to your core competencies, if you have developed it last year, you have to revisit it at least every 2 years to see also if your core, your functional, your leadership competencies are also changing. So again, make your line managers or the departments that you're working with, your senior management team, involved also in the process of crafting your framework. That way, they're the best person. They're also your subject matter expert to say, okay, Diane, our work has changed so much drastically because of the pandemic. I think instead of the competency probably of building a relationship, we are now moving into a much more higher type of competency, which is trusting. That's just an example because we cannot really build connection at this point face to face, but at least if we do it online, we call it digital social competency. How do we still ensure that we are able to connect with people even though we are working in our computers right now and we are not seeing everyone face to face? So that kind of level of discussion with the different functions that you guys are working with, and always tie it up with the different success metrics in the group. We call this, if you can see my right hand side, we call it a card sort technique. So most of the time, we recommend our clients, our partners. So, okay, you've identified your competencies. Let's put it in a what we call, let's print it. Let's make it like a card. And whenever you do this exercise with the leadership team, with your line managers, let them handpick the competencies that they think is relevant and consistent also with the roles that they are managing. So if they see, for example, all your yellow cards are related to relating competency or something to do with the heart competency. All the blue ones would be probably the leading competencies. All the green ones or the purple ones is related to your analytical competencies. And let them sort the cards and identify, okay, this competency is really important for the role because it's definite, it's consistent. Maybe for this competency, it's not needed right now, but for this, we are considering. So that way, you're able to again sort the competencies that is a priority, that is secondary or probably not needed for the organization based on the changing way of work as of the moment. Okay, hope you're able to get that. And right now, guys, if you are in the process of, okay, Diane, that's just too many at this point, can we just get competencies available right now in the market? We also have what we call the build, buy, and borrow model. So if you work with Talent View, we already have all of these competency models at hand. And what we can do is that we can share with you some of our frameworks. And then from there, you don't need to write. Probably what you can do is just to classify, and then evaluate if this competency is something that is important for the business or for your organization. Making sure that first, for you to verify it, it is linked to the business overall objective. It is also you can also tie up some of these competencies in the programs that you are running internally. And lastly, again, adjust the competencies as the way of work also is adjusting. So for all of the attendees right now, we're happy to share with you our competency framework. We call it Path Competency Model, created by Taligent. There are around 23 competencies that you can see here, divided into the leading, relating, solving, doing, and being. And then from here, play around with the competency and see if, okay, I don't need numerical analysis, perhaps I need implementation, I need learning agility, I need managing talent for my group. That way, you don't need to start from scratch and just utilize what we have already. You can just borrow some of the models that we have already available online. All right. So also, when it comes to mapping the competencies with the assessment, take note that you shouldn't be just looking at one or two assessments along the way, specifically for recruitment. As you can see in the right-hand side in the figure that I am showing to you right now, age is very weak in terms of correlation with performance. So don't look at age. We're not saying that the older you are, the less performer that you can be. According to research, it's a very weak correlation when it comes to performance. Even years of education, it's only at 0.10 or 10% predictor if this person will likely be successful in the role. But if you are able to mix and match different methodologies. Say, for example, you wanted to combine situational judgment assessment with assessment center, with personality and cognitive ability assessment, you are talking about raising your validity also of predicting that this person will likely perform in his or her role. So again, key takeaway here, I know a lot of numbers that you are seeing here. Make sure that when you select the right assessment tools for you, it's a mix and match of different methodologies right now. Right. And also sharing with you an article published by LinkedIn in 2020, first quarter of this year. We are talking about multiple soft skills in relation to the competencies that I have discussed earlier. Soft skills and technical skills that is becoming more and more relevant nowadays. So again, pick up all the items that you are seeing might not be applicable. Pick your one or two competencies that you think will also be relevant for you. There's creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and emotional quotient. While when you talk about the hard skills that is currently very, very high on demand right now, you're talking about scientific computing, cloud computing, analytical reasoning, AI or your artificial intelligence, especially if you are in the tech industry, blockchain, UX design, affiliate marketing and sales. So no longer just marketing and sales, but the ability to leverage multiple products and services solutions to co-sell, upsell different tools and services to your client. So it's not just selling one product, but multiple. And also at the same time, business analytics or data, similar to what we are discussing right now, data-driven recruiting. So you are also wearing, as a recruiter, raise your hand if you are doing all the recruitment by yourselves, but you will notice that nowadays you are also wearing a hat of a statistician or a data analyst, because every step of the candidate journey, may it be assessment, sourcing, interview, up until onboarding them, you need to provide analytics, time to hire, number of applicants, application rates, etc., to your line managers to be able to understand how are you able to convert. So a lot of skills, on demand, hard and soft skills that you should be looking into. But then again, pick those that you think will also be applicable for your group. So before I turn over to my colleague Angel, just wanted to wrap up my part. We're in a study conducted by Mohapatra. 77% of the companies say that using analytics are helping them when it comes to their hiring decision. So hoping that you guys are also doing the same. You know your metrics, you know why is it critical to track all of this different stages of the applicant journey, and be able to guide you to decide based also on the data that you guys are getting. Okay, so introducing now again my colleague here, Angel, who will be discussing agenda 2 down to 4. Angel, over to you.
Thank you very much, Diane, for sharing this insightful information. It's a good reminder for everyone that really data is our friend in making better people decisions and the importance of the competencies. It doesn't just affect the recruitment initiatives that you will have, but also the entire facets of HR, the training and development, organizational development, so on and so forth. So thank you very much for that. Again, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for attending us this Wednesday. My name is Angel Sabiduria, and I'm the Senior Assessment Consultant of TalentView. I won't discuss much of my work experiences because Diane mentioned already that actually I was onboarded first before her. So I'll just give you fun facts instead about me. First fun fact, I'm the fifth employee of the Talent View team. So imagine, you may be counting how old I am today, but I don't want to be defensive, but I'm still younger at heart. Okay, so next fun fact is that I'm one of the seniors of the Talent View team. So whenever there are celebrations within the team, there's more likely a chance for me to go up on stage and entertain the team with my music. Okay, but this morning I won't sing for you, but rather give you more insightful trends about recruitment and other facets of HR. Okay, so that's where we move to the next topic. It's about assessing your candidates objectively. So I'd like us to pause and think, when do we usually get subjective? You might probably think, it's when I read someone's CVs, because whenever I see someone graduated to the same university as where I graduated, I think this person's really good. Or if this candidate finished a course or seminar that is the same as what I took, this person might be knowledgeable in a certain field. And I think most of us tend to become subjective whenever we interview people, whenever we interview our candidates. From the time that the candidate comes into the room and we see someone very pleasant, we got good impression from that candidate. And what I mean by this is that yes, we could be experienced already reading about the intentions of our candidates, if they're faking good or not. But we can take away that sometimes emotions and our past experiences, beliefs, and values affect the way we decide on whether the candidate is suitable for the job or not. That's why organizations' uh, best practice is to apply objective tools to counter that. And that is by means of using psychometric assessments. And according to Smith and Robertson, let me just read this to you. Psychometric assessments are carefully chosen, systematic, and standardized procedure for evoking a sample of responses from a candidate. They can be used to assess one or more of their psychological characteristics by comparing their results with those of a representative sample of an appropriate population. Very profound. And that's how really psychometric assessments are developed. It undergoes back and forth reliability and validity testing just to make sure that it produces consistent results and it intends to measure what it intends to measure. It also uses sample of people, group of people, to where your candidate's responses will be compared against. So we identify if the behavior of your candidate is within the average or below average or above average, hence giving us an idea if that candidate's behavior is suitable for the job or not. Okay, next, how do we now make sense of the assessments? It's first by defining your candidate journey. Having these clear steps will really uh, will help you seamlessly process your candidate application. So here's a sample candidate journey where a company considers a lot of social media channels where they can reach out to their talents. Could be FB chatbot, application form. Are they going to run online job fair, or I will just screen their CVs and other tools like applicant tracking system. Now the question is this: what's the social media channel or what are the social media channels that you think will really reach out your target talents? Another would be, how are you going to communicate with your talents to get their attention more? But to our agenda, it's about thinking what could be a good tool for me to filter out my candidates and get that top talent. Okay? So here's some statistics when it comes to considering a candidate journey. It says here 70% of employers think that the application process just takes less than an hour. But the average candidate spends 3.5 hours on an application. So a very large gap. And why is this so? It's because your candidates are going through hidden stages. When I say hidden stages, these are the things that your candidates are probably searching for different sites just to see your company reviews, or them looking for their tax identification number or citizenship numbers, or even thinking of people to put into the character referrals. So if you think a nitty-gritty type of job application form will help you narrow down your best candidates, it could be that you are narrowing down to the wrong places. It's because what I mean by that is, yes, you have your low quality candidates, but who can easily drop out to the application, but so are your best talents. So one thing to consider is this statistics. Another study that I wanted to share with you about competencies is that in 2018, Deloitte surveyed 11,000 HR professionals. And these HR professionals believe that these sets of competencies are found to be very vital in the next coming years because they understand the impact of technology in our work nowadays. So these competencies are a mix of cognitive abilities and hard skills. So let me just tackle this with you. This would be technical skills, complex problem solving skills, cognitive abilities, process skills, resource management skills, social skills, all the way down to physical abilities, right? So it's very important nowadays that someone, when there is a new technology, for us to be, keeping up the pace, this person needs to understand quickly how to navigate that platform and also understand what's the best resource to take so that I can address a concern. So it's a mixture of what Diane called soft skills and hard skills. And it's also a matter of, okay, based on what Diane mentioned, it's this competency is definite, considerable, and not needed. So with this list, if you think that there are already competencies that you think is a requirement for the job, you may be putting them to the considering um, row or column rather, but the rest not needed, or the other ones are really definite nowadays. Next, there are different types of competency-based assessments, okay? And I could only tell you three classifications. First, job-specific. These job-specific assessments already has pre-identified competencies per type of the job. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, for a sales representative, these assessments will provide, hey, this is the list of competencies of the top performing sales representatives. So usually, organizations who use these job-specific assessments are those who don't have a competency framework yet or definite job descriptions. Next would be the customizable assessments. In this way, organizations are able to create their own unique test batteries per job role. And then when it comes to the report, it will only show the critical competencies that they think relevant for the job role. Next is compatibility. What I mean by compatibility is that it's about job and culture fit. Most of the assessments nowadays just take a look at the job fit of the assessment, if the candidate will likely to perform in the job. But how about the culture fit? Is this person valuing integrity, passion, innovation? So these values assessments that I'm talking about is really helpful for organizations, because if they're able to filter or profile their candidates based on their core values, it's already giving them insights that this candidate will likely to stay longer in the company. This is because studies show that the more your candidates or your talents resemble your core values in the organization, the more likely that they are going to be engaged, the more likely that they would love working with the team, and yeah, stay longer in the company given a good engagement initiatives. Next is just a quick reminder again that when you consider assessments, it's always important to consider the reliability and validity of the tool that you're considering to see if it's effective or not. Okay, Angel, you've talked a lot about online assessments or the different types of assessments. How am I going to decide which to use, right? So one method that you can do is to come up with a competency and assessment matrix. So this competency and assessment matrix allows you to see what are the appropriate assessment tools to use to capture someone's competencies. And this is what I'm showing on the table. For example, company X already identified his or their definite competencies like communication and presentation all the way down to collaboration. And then on the succeeding columns, there are the online assessments that this company believes will help them assess their candidates on the following competencies. So for communication and presentation, they can assess it through personality questionnaire and probably some English language or verbal reasoning assessments. They can also validate that through video interview, which I'm gonna tackle later. Also, they can do it with an individual case study or even a written output, and also for a one-on-one presentation and succeeding interviews. Same goes with the next one, which is results driven. Okay, they can validate that through interview. They can objectively assess it through personality questionnaire as well. And same applies to the same to the other competencies. Okay, here's another data that I wanted to share with you. 61% of recruiters are using video as part of the screening process during COVID-19. That's coming from JobVite. It's, I think, obviously happening. And another article that I read, it's 78% of the corporate businesses have invested already to tools like Zoom, um, Google Hangouts, Skype, name it. And the obvious, I'd say, example is what we're doing right now. We're doing webinar using a Zoom tool, right? So that we can further reach out to you. And recruiters are doing this to interview their candidates. Yes, this could be able to help them reach out to their talents, talk with their talents, but our recruiters are still facing challenges like they need to prepare, dress up for the candidate so that they look good during the interview session, right? Next is that they need to find a common schedule between the candidate and the interviewers. And what's worse is um, it Sometimes they spend 15 minutes per individual to interview a candidate. And again, what's worse is that sometimes, even if from the start we already know that the candidate failed the interview session, we still go along with the candidate in the conversation just to, express our appreciation because of his presence and efforts applying for the job. But still, it's a waste of time, right? So these are little challenges at the surface level. But if we, pan the camera back, um, the picture could be different. So there are video interview in the assessment platforms that can help recruiters screen their candidates smarter and more efficiently. And this helps them save time because instead of asking the same questions, the tell me about yourself example, or tell me about a time when you experienced an irate customer again and again, they just leave their questions on the platform and then allow their candidates to record their video responses. And from that, recruiters can do other crucial tasks and go back to the candidate results once all are in. Next is that it standardizes the flow of the conversation. Instead of going around the bush, you go straight to your competency-based questions or your warm-up questions, same as the example that I've given, like tell me about yourself. And you also get straightforward answers from your candidates. Next, it promotes collaboration. Instead of just coordinating with a hiring manager and a candidate for a schedule, once all results are in, recruiters can just send a link to the hiring manager, leave their notes about how the candidate responded to the questions or what could be the follow-up questions that I will be asking on the next round of the interview. They can leave that or leave those. And hiring manager can also leave down their notes and put a 5-star rating on how well the talent answered right to the questions. The last is that these video interviews are cloud-based. Now it becomes easier for you to get back to the responses of your candidates and review it. And then in the long run, it can also serve as your means to create your benchmark or profile. What I mean by that is, let's say, for example, you gathered your hired candidates who turned out to be top performers. You can go back to the results and see the patterns of their responses. Oh, on this scenario, what are their tendencies? Or if one of your questions is career aspirations, you can take a look at what they aspire for in the next coming years and tie up these results with your training and development team, hence provide suitable modules as well. Okay, so now we move on to the next topic, which is about identifying your top candidates. Okay, Angel, there's a lot of available assessments that I can use. How can I be able to identify my top candidate? And one method that organizations use, and that what we're doing as well with other companies, is that we throw the candidates through to virtual cases and simulations. Okay, virtual cases and simulations are a powerful tool to build that or to validate further the assessment results of your talents from the previous assessments that they took. This is powerful because you are observing actual behaviors of your candidates when they're put into these work scenarios. What are those work scenarios that could be critical in identifying the determining the competencies rather? Could be a customer complaint resolution. It could be for managerial roles, them providing performance appraisals to an irate subordinate, or your candidates talking with their other peers to strategize before it happens on a live setup. But since organizations really practice social protocols and become aware of the risks brought by the pandemic, it's now getting virtual nowadays. So how does that happen? Okay, let me just check. There's some chat. Okay. So how does this happen? So on a video conferencing tool, there will be your assessor who will be observing your um, candidates, and then your candidates read through the case studies, and there will be moderators who can help the candidates whenever they have questions. This moderator can also be the one who keeps an eye on the clock so that every individual has to go to the next exercises accordingly. Okay. Now, integrating results. What if all the methodologies and all the assessments are in one place? It's very easy for you to capture the holistic view of your talents because as in fewer clicks, you will see their results in one platform. Let's say, for example, on personality questionnaire, you can easily see it side by side with their results in virtual cases simulations. It also promotes objectivity because instead of you tabulating the scores manually to an Excel file and come up with a scoring, all the scorings happen back end with the algorithm. Okay, and actually some of the scoring methodologies there, like for example, rating a candidate on a video interview or in virtual cases, it could be customized, right? According on your rating scale. Next is better people decisions. So upon seeing individual scores, you can decide if a candidate is um, suitable for the job or not. So this person can move to the next round of my selection or other recruitment process. Or if the candidate's profile seems like suitable to other roles, so you endorse him to other job positions. Or if the candidate didn't make it at all. Okay. So, okay, I have this holistic view. How can I shortlist my top candidates? Since if everything is happening in just one platform, it's easier to sort scores. You just click like one head column header, and then automatically the scores will rank accordingly. And then hence you can compare candidates from one to another. And as easy as that, you can see their scores and select, okay, based on the scores, these are the top talents that I'm considering. And, or among the rest of my top candidates or filtered candidates, candidate A has fulfilled better among or has fulfilled best among the others in my pool. So that's how you can practically or shortlist or get your top talents. Okay, now we move on to the last part of this webinar series. It's about choosing the assessment platform that best fits your needs. Okay, you already have the online assessment. I already have the competencies, the video interviews, video simulations. What environment should I be providing to the candidate? Okay, so first, you can make your assessments gamified. Okay, it's not just about highlighting what technology can do for you, but it's more of you or the organizations adapting to the profiles of your candidates. Research shows or study shows that more than 50% of the workforce could be composing of millennials and Gen Zs already. And we know for a fact that these profiles or these generations tend to become impatient. They want something instant. They want something engaging. And if something that they see that doesn't satisfy them, the tendency is for them to move away and go to other options. And that's something that we don't want for our candidates, right? So here, what you see on the video is that you still capture the cognitive ability or the relevant competencies of your candidates, but it's going to be more engaging in such a way the assessment platform itself will use different properties of a video game. It could be how the items are answered. It could be someone or a character is really speaking to the candidate. Okay. Next is that you can also communicate your brand value proposition throughout the experience. So this is highly customizable and you can really customize your communication strategies while the assessment is ongoing on the candidate's page. You could also provide your corporate branding videos or employer branding videos so that your candidates is kept engaged to taking the assessments. And lastly, it promotes diversity and inclusion. What I mean by that is that in terms of the advancement of this technology, one of the things that it can do is that it can adapt to candidates with disability, for example, for colorblind candidates as well. And the assessments are made culture free. Okay. Next, if you want to ensure the integrity of the assessment or of integrity of the candidate while taking the assessments, you can also activate like the virtual proctoring. So what it does is that it uses facial and voice recognition so that whenever a candidate has someone on the background or when it detected other voices other than the candidate, it could say that this candidate has some suspicious activity while taking the assessment. It actually decreases cost and time to hire because there's no need for you to assign one recruiter or your team members to man or monitor the candidate while he's taking the assessments, and that person can really go to his more crucial tasks. It also improves results validity because the candidates know that they are virtually monitored by the assessment platform itself. It's also future focused. Again, it uses facial recognition and voice recognition. So what technology cannot do right now, right? It surprises us every day. And again, last but not the least, it identifies cheating. As mentioned earlier, it can provide you reports if there are suspicious activity on the candidate side. Next is promoting your employer brand. Okay, we circle back it everything to the value of employer brand. If you have like gamified assessments in place, you have the online assessment tools or competency framework, they will have little impact to your success or performance if you weren't able to establish or invest in your employer brand. I'm showing you some figures here, like 9 out of 10 of potential candidates are present in the social media. So the keyword there is presence. Okay. So if you still plug your um, plug your open jobs manually or traditionally like on newspaper, that might not work right now given the numbers here. Or if you're present in social media, how do you now craft your contents, your messages to continuously attract your talents? That matters as well in terms of employer brand. And 55% of job seekers not applying for a job at an organization with a bad reputation or negative reviews. With that figure, we cannot just say, oh, that's just employer branding. I don't want to invest in that. You should be also investing in employer brand because it is as important as your best talent. Okay, so with that, I'm passing through Diane or Anna for the keynotes of this webinar.
Thank you so much, Angel. A lot of good data, and hoping that our attendees here somehow would pick one or two slides that they can show also to their management to say that management team, our leadership team, we need this now because it will definitely aid us in our hiring decisions, in our as we acquire new talents in the market as we speak. So again, wrapping up everything that we have discussed so far, some key points that we wanted to share by using data analytics, by using a data-driven recruitment technology, it will definitely aid you in your hiring decision, improve the quality of hires. But take note of what we have mentioned also. All of this technology will only be fancy, will only add value if you also know the competencies, the set of skills, criteria, attitude, or even behavior and cognitive capacity if you also understand it and be able to connect it with the role. Increase employee productivity and efficiency. We also see the trend right now that the assessment doesn't stop if you've hired the person. The assessment, in fact, should also be injected as part of your talent development initiative. So every 3 months or every 6 months upon regularization or after a year, after 2 years, if you are moving this candidate or this incumbent to a new role, keep in mind that you need to also assess if his likely fit would also be able to deliver or be connected to the new role that he you are assigning him or her for. Improve the candidate experience wherein you now also inject your employer branding, as echoing the same thing that Angel mentioned. Your employer branding also act as your filtering tool. So if at the very beginning the candidate cannot connect to your values, to what's important for your organization, then clearly this person might probably have difficulty also adjusting if ever you hire him or her for. So remember, you're not only assessing for job fit, but you are also assessing for culture fit, and at the same time for skills fit. Remove biases ultimately, because you have now an objective tool to filter out candidates at the very beginning. So with that, I wanted to now give you throw the baton to our attendees. Any key takeaways, or while we are waiting for some clarifications or questions that you have in mind, feel free to chat it in our use the chat functionality to share some of your aha moments, your one or two key takeaways from this webinar. And while we are doing that, I will just read on some of the questions that we have here. From Nadia, I've encountered psychometric assessment. Can we apply this to smaller company as well? What about the cost to actually obtain psychometric assessment tool? So again, Nadia, I wouldn't want to like upsell something to you at this session, but one thing that you have to also think of, whether you're a small, medium, or an enterprise organization, look at first, of course, is to conduct an audit internally. What are the internal resources that you currently have? And when I talk about resources, do you have any assessment tools in place, whether paper or pen or online? If it's online, that's better. It's making your life easier and your task more manageable. And then once you're able to conduct an audit from that aspect, then you now move on. Do I need to buy from the outside? If I need to buy, how much budget can I actually have? And don't be afraid to tell your potential providers that this is your working budget as of the moment. You cannot extend because for some reason, but just be transparent also on what you can actually outsource. And from that, hoping that whoever your vendor will be can also work on the budget that you are working with right now. But just to give you more transparency, working with TalentView, with our Talent partner, a lot of flexibility when it comes to the number of candidates that you want to assess, and also in terms of the pricing. Where can we learn about analytics, virtual proctoring, and the like? Thank you. So Lino, we touched on about analytics and virtual proctoring. So there's a lot to do with AI when it comes to assessment, and happy to discuss this again after, to continue the discussion with you. Specifically on the question, I want to throw it back to you, Lino. Where do you also see this happening? Is it for talent acquisition, talent development? So definitely we can customize something for you. This is an aha moment. Thank you so much, Lino. And going through our Q&A portion, Angel wanted to throw this question to you in terms of biases in assessment. How can we minimize it?
Thanks, Diane, for that question. Well, the assessments before they are published or developed, the developers have already made some controls in terms of developing the items to make it culture bias. So what I mean by that is that for, let's say, for example, for a personality questionnaire, it started with 2,000 items, and then they further filter it out what could be the best representative or item, so that it's culture bias. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Angel. And of course, all of this assessment technology would have the reliability and validity manual. So even before investing, our recommendation is to check also those documentations, those manuals, so that it's critical also to understand if the representative sample, when they created the assessment, would also include the country that you are in right now. Any advice or suggestion in assessing effectivity of leaders and higher level roles? Definitely a good one. I want to share with you some experiences that we had in the past. Assessment right now, it's not only for talent acquisition, but also for succession planning, for talent development, for your management executive leadership program. So on top of doing your online assessment, there is also what we call the virtual assessment center, or your assessment and development center processes, wherein you also give your leaders, the higher roles in your organization, live cases. You let them present. work on different multiple cases, see them when they work in a group, and see them how they coach and mentor different employees in the organization. So if you are able to add that to your existing processes, just like what Angel mentioned earlier, the pandemic shouldn't stop you. You can even use your Zoom or other web application tools right now to assess your leaders also if they have this set of leadership competency. So there are higher level forms of assessment on top of what we have mentioned, like cognitive and personality. By giving them those kinds of assessment, you are sure that you'll be able to have a quick snapshot of their strategic vision, what else, their coaching and mentoring skills as leaders, and see where you can help them develop more. So there. So again, trying to wrap up this session because we also want to end on time, 5 more minutes. So just wanted to walk you through some final notes. So again, webinar resources will be provided to you after 24 hours, including the webinar recording, presentation slides, and additional recording. So we are also feeling a little bit of generous today. We wanted to give you a copy, everyone who have attended. I hope I'm saying it right. You will get a copy of the book, The Paradox of Hiring. Complete the session today by rating us. If you're feeling also generous, give us a 5 or the highest score. Just kidding, but we will also give you a copy of this book written by our CEO of Talagent, John Austin, The Paradox of Hiring, talking about AI in talent acquisition, in assessment, competency model. Most of the discussions that we have discussed is already included in this book. So hoping that you give us your rating so we can also improve our succeeding runs. Also wanted to promote a learning activity or learning course that our CEO in Talent View, Ange Vera, have recently published under Udemy. So becoming a world-class employer brand professional. So if you are in the process of wearing that hat of you are of an employer brand champion internally, feel free to attend this session. It would cost you around $14 to finish the entire course. So we have our QR code published at the screen. And again, let's continue the discussion. I know time might be limited today, but hoping that we can continue, we can connect. Go to our LinkedIn account, look for Talent View Asia, contact us as learning at talentview.asia. As mentioned, we are doing webinar Wednesdays every Wednesdays. So next week we will have another one, and hope that we'll be able to see you again in our upcoming webinar Wednesday series. So connect with us, with me and Angel. Here are our QR code, and hoping that we'll be able to continue the discussion after this. So any parting words, Angel, before we end the session?
Um, Few things. Get noticed and loved by means of, yeah, highlighting your employer brand out there. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining us this Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So if we missed out any questions, again, happy to connect with you. Just get your mobile phones, scan our QR code, and you will be redirected to our LinkedIn account, and we can start a conversation from there. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.